Steve, how are things going?
They're going all right.
Might just be us for a little bit here. So, if you have any questions?
Yeah, how do you fill up? How do you fill up during the week?
Yeah. I feel like that's always a big question.
What's the secret?
Okay, just a moment. Just a moment. People coming in. Okay, so right now in Arvada, it's definitely the slowest month of the entire year. It's like very typical for anybody to kind of just break even. When are you hitting? Are you talking about this month specifically or just your upcoming months?
Yeah, this month and next month. All I've got probably weekends booked for the next 2 months. Some in June, July, August, October,
All
November, December.
weekends are booked in those months?
Yeah, some of them are pretty much like in June, July, I think are already all booked. And
Okay.
some during the week too, but the during the week is always like now, of course, I think I've got every weekend booked in January except for this next coming one here now.
Okay, so if you're seeing bookings on the weekends, especially far in advance and weekends only, we can raise prices on the weekends.
I think we're kind of messed there because they're already all done.
Right. Right.
But
So,
the price is more though, anyways. I think it automatically was like 35% up mark with the prices already in hospital
right.
hospitality or not hospitality, but price labs have
Right.
raised the prices. Yes,
Yep. Yeah, it does, but it can go more. If you're already getting them and your weekend's booked for June and July, and obviously I'm saying this for next year because you, like you said, it's already done with at this point. So it's keeping that in mind for next year for sure. So now for the weekends, what I would do, can you
oh, you're gonna ask me to share. Wait,
either that or I can screen share one of mine. Would it be easier if we could just see what's actually going on?
let me see if I can find them here. I think here.
Lisa, Steve has properties in Arvada. Do you have any recommendations on getting weekdays filled? Lisa also has a property in the area.
Hi, Becky.
Hey,
Um, Weekdays, that has been a challenge of mine. I've been running promotions, but so far no success.
okay.
Summertime, they will fill up though.
Yeah, yeah. It'll all flip us over time. So this time of year, it's just hard. Let me pull up while you're working on that. I'm going to pull up AirDNA here.
Oh, but
Yeah,
Becky, I did get all 5 of those Christmas days booked.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So did I. I had like out of 5 properties I was working on, like 3 of them had Christmas canceled, and they all ended up getting filled up as well.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I think we've had 15 reviews and 15 five-star reviews out of 15 bookings. So
Amazing.
we are got now got the gold little leaves and we're 5-star now. So
Perfect. Okay, so Arvada, you have, it's a 4 bedrooms?
that one's a 5-bedroom. The
Okay.
next one you're going to do is a 4-bedroom. It should have been done already, but I wasn't happy with it, so I'm redoing some more inside of it. So
Yeah, yep, yep. Okay, so what are we looking at? So on the calendar for January, it doesn't even say heavy on the weekends. It's just slow, slow in general. So the fact that you're even getting weekends, if you can get, what would you say? Are you at like 50% occupancy or 40% with your weekends booked?
I would say where it must be the weekends are all booked. Yeah, so we're probably at 40 or 50, 40% probably for January.
Okay, so the market average in the last couple of years has been about 48, 49% for January and about 53, 54% for February. So since we're still early in the month, you've already got around 40%. I have no doubt you'll get some last minute bookings in there to fill that up and hit that. above what the market is doing. And so January, February might look like that. It might just look like weekends, but we could still do those tricks of adding those length of stay discounts and promotions in as well. Have we worked on those yet together?
Yeah, we got the length to stay, the 2 day, 3 day.
Yep. I
Yep,
would do
them
that. I
are.
don't care if it's like 6 months out, a year in advance. If the weekends are booked and only weekdays available, I would apply them in.
So we'll have to do that because we still got some calls left yet, I think.
Okay.
And why do I get nothing on verbal or no inquiries? Absolutely nothing. Everything is booked through Airbnb or in one booking through booking.com, I think.
So I would say across the country in general, it really depends on the market. I would say Vrbo and Booking.com are more popular on like the east side of the country for some reason. But also in general, I would say 90% of your bookings are going to come from Airbnb. Some markets you'll see 20, 30% from Vrbo, Booking.com, but a lot of the time it's going to be Airbnb 90%. So, and why that is it's just the activity on there. People are booking up the high demand events much quicker than people would on Vrbo. So if you didn't have Airbnb, you'd be getting those bookings through Vrbo. Like, but people are just they're just taking them up much faster. They say
Okay. But I
Airbnb.
don't even get any inquiries or anything, there's nothing coming from them. I had some inquiries once early on, but nothing now
Yeah,
anymore. So,
it's definitely slower. I would say on average to my properties, I'd probably I was just looking at some of them. I don't know. I would say Booking.com maybe brings in a couple thousand a year for each of my properties. That might be look like two, three bookings per year. Verbo might bring in 5 to 10,000 depending on the property. Again, that could be like a booking a month, a booking every other month. It is definitely slower sites.
yeah, and I had one bad guest. They gave us a 5-star review, but I waited until the last to give them a review after I turned in their $900 worth of damage they did.
What site were they from?
Airbnb.
Oh,
So
okay.
but they didn't have any reviews, but were whatever they verified, you
Yeah.
know. And the guests, they knew they did wrong because it wasn't when I turned the bill in, and 10 minutes later they paid it.
Wow. That's very good.
Yeah, that was really good, and yet they still gave us I mean, we got a 5-star review out of them, so, but they didn't they got a terrible review from us, so it was bad. Blood-stained sheets, blood on the walls, condoms laying all over. They had dirt and leaves in the toilet and flooded 2 floors.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have a back-to-back guest then. I had about 4 days, 3 or 4 days in between to get it cleaned up, but
Yep. Okay, so I normally I don't recommend this all the time, but just since we're on here, I can show you guys on that topic. So on Hospitable offers this option to do guest verification. You have to pay a few dollars for it. So I only opt for this if it's mostly Booking.com reservations or Airbnb and Vrbo. If they just created the account, like I just had one, this guy on I can see it on Airbnb to where they created the account in 2026. So in the last couple days, they booked for next weekend, no reviews for 15 people. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I don't get scared easy, but that one made me nervous. So we send them a message saying, asking them to fill out all the information. I want to make sure to have their ID on hand. So in Hospitable, if you go to the messages, you can go to guest verification and it's gonna send them. Maybe I'll show you what it looks like if you request verification, you can pick which one you want,
hmm.
send, and then this will block them from getting a check-in message until they complete this. So if you have any super questionable people, then I always
So how
recommend.
do you get that ahead of the check-in? Because the check-in, as soon as I get booked on Airbnb, it isn't only minutes later, and that's already been um, hospital's already answered the question and sent them the.
Yeah, they send, so if it's last minute, this isn't going to be as useful. But if they have a few days, typically your check-in message is going to go out 3 days in advance. So if they book 5 days in advance, then you
Okay,
can,
the check-in, not that they're booked.
yeah, correct. Check in. So it'll their code to go to the house.
Okay. So then if you decide to cancel them, does that go against you in Airbnb then, or do you got to have a good explanation why?
Yeah, you'd have to have a good explanation. You'd have to be able to bring this information to Airbnb support
Okay.
if it does show anything bad.
Could they say that you aren't like, I know VRBO, for example, if a guest can't get into the property within X amount of like an hour or something like that, if something happens, then the host could be held like liable. But if they're not completing paperwork on their end, if you're requiring this verification,
Yeah.
does that hold ground for you? Like, do you know how that works? Like, or I don't know if there's any like wording, or is it case by case, or where would the support do you think would be from VRBO or Airbnb if you were to hold out on releasing the code to get into the house if they don't complete this?
Yep, so I've used it mostly on booking.com and it has worked in my favor when I go and tell them, hey, this guest is has not completed this information. I asked multiple times in the last 15 days was my couple situations, and I make it clear in the message that they need to have this completed, 3 days in advance from the booking. I take it to Verba or booking.com support at the time, and they did waive any cancellation fees when that happened. They also tried to reach out to the guest, and the guest just wasn't responding. And then for Airbnb, this will be the first one I've had to do through Airbnb. So I guess I'll let you know how that goes because they haven't responded yet to it.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how they, where they stand with it, if they would be supportive of the host,
Mhm.
or if they're going to say, I don't know, ding you or give you a hard time for it. But I guess it's all about documentation and just
Yep, there's
constantly. Yeah,
according to Hospitable, that's the whole point of this is you should be able to take this information to Airbnb if it justifies, you know, evidence, I guess. That's what they say. But obviously Hospitable is also like, well, we can't promise it, but that's the idea. So
makes
yeah.
sense.
And then at least then you have like their ID because Airbnb doesn't provide you their ID or anything like that. With this process, you will have a picture of their ID and everything. So if something really big did happen, you do have additional steps you can take. That's kind of how I see it. Okay. And then we talked about weekdays. So if you notice weekdays are getting booked or weekends are getting booked up far in advance, raising prices on those. So this at this point, it's going to be for next year. And then to try to book weekdays at this point is really those length of stay discounts, promotions. And then especially for far out bookings, I like to reach out to the guests and offer them an additional night on both ends for a discounted rate, even if it's like 50% off. You're like, hey, would you like to stay for, I don't know, $200 or $100 a night, whatever your prices are in your area. Because if you can get them to stay, 4 or 5 days out of the week, then it's well worth it. Okay, cool. Um, Steve Torchia, is that how you say that? Are you still there?
There's a mic on.
Yeah. Not there. He'll be back. Okay. Well, for anybody else, Dana, Lisa. Oh, is there Steve?
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah. So
Where are you at
just
in your?
get just getting started. I made a offer to rent a place to do arbitrage here in the Houston, Texas area. So
Awesome. Okay.
my first one. So I'm joining the calls to learn, and these are great tips to be aware of starting my first one. Um, I might have accepted the that client you mentioned without thinking about it, but this is helping me gain awareness. So this is valuable stuff.
Good, good. I definitely, are you local to your area? To Houston?
Yeah, I wanted to do my first one where I could see it, touch it, go there.
Yeah.
Then longer term, there are going to be some lifestyle things places I want to go on vacation.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I think that's all of our goal. Luck. Unfortunately, not everyone. I live in Alaska, so that's not going to happen for me. But so everything I do is
I
all
like Alaska, so there's some great fishing up there.
it's amazing. That's for sure. So, okay. Most people in this program are going to notice are remote. So it is nice that you're one of the few that are local to your area. I don't want what we just talked about to scare you either. There are like things that we take for some preventative measures. At the end of the day, this is hospitality, so things are going to happen. That's why people really push, proper insurance, having that additional insurance. And then each of the OTAs do have their own insurance systems. So Airbnb has, air cover, which covers up to like $1 million. Verbo has you can either opt for like damage deposits or their damage program, which the guest pays like let's say $59 and it's covered up to a certain amount. I think it's $59 for $1,500 in coverage. And then pretty much anything over $1,500, you would be going to your overhead insurance for that. So such as like proper insurance. And then booking.com just in this last month or two has come out with a much better insurance than they've ever had. They've never really had insurance. It's always been like a $300 max and a horrible um, system to even implement any claims. And they just came out with $1 million coverage now. So all three main OTAs do have pretty good coverage at this point. And
So
then,
is booking.com that just covers whatever that gets booked there now or whatever has been booked there?
yep,
Just like Airbnb, you don't pay nothing for it as part of their service fee.
nope, automatically applied now, which is nice. Because they're really trying to push more into the US, especially with the World Cup coming. Booking.com is really trying to get their feet in the door. So they're making big changes. Okay, so that's for like helping with coverages, but at the end of the day, I would say for me, over the last whatever few years of running Airbnbs, like I would say maybe one in every 20 guests I have trouble with. Not even. It's kind of one of those things where I can go months without hearing from anybody, and then there might be two issues in a week, and then again I won't go from hearing from anybody. Kind of one of those things. In the beginning, it's gonna feel like a lot. It's probably gonna feel like a lot for the first 6 months. And then eventually you build systems, you have cleaners, and hopefully even though that you're local to your area, it is still really important to build your team and rely on your cleaners and handyman people like that so that this doesn't become a hands-on business, especially if you plan to do more traveling and stuff. So, do you have any questions about the market, the Houston market or anything?
No, I've done some analysis and working with Austin
Mhm.
on the onboarding from the team, and he and I have talked a couple times about the market and with the like you said, the World Cup's coming here, so there'll be several games in the Houston area, and I want to get mine up and rentable for guests for that. And then some of the areas I'm looking at are so central to Houston. I think you could probably get business travel, even midterm, like traveling nurses, other people that have these longer stays. There's a lot of engineering in Houston where people come and work for months on end for projects, for construction and chemical industry stuff. So I
Uh,
think it's a
Bedrooms
good
this
spot.
property. How many bedrooms?
4,
Awesome. I was
and
just,
it's a tri-level,
yeah, I just,
tri-level with a rooftop, and the rooftop I'm going to make into a nice hospitality area with games or something up there, and it's got a nice view of the downtown skyline. So I think at night it provides some interesting viewpoints.
yes, yes. So just make sure when whoever's done designing, they get that is going to be your money photo, is that rooftop area with the skyline in it. And then make sure that photographer makes it into like an evening photo, whether they come and take an evening photo or they edit it to be an evening photo. Those
Right.
ones do really well in that area.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
when it comes time for you to go live, when you're done with design, I don't know if you're using the design team or doing it yourself, but when it comes time, we're going to get on a call because I do the Airbnb listings through the program. And then we'll be able to like, what I definitely recommend, and I'll remind you then too, is because the World Cup is coming in like June and July, um, and you're initially going to have a 20% discount on each of your listing platforms that you set up. And so we'll probably want to block out those dates at first, get that 20% out of the way, and then open those up so you can get a bit more of a premium price for those. Or we just increase the rate 20%, I guess I've been doing lately.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Definitely something to look at. That's exciting, very exciting.
Becky, on the cleaning charge on Airbnb, they charge us 15.5%. Have people been raising their cleaning prices?
Yep, yep. They also mark those up just like their rates.
Mark them back up. I don't, hospital doesn't do, does hospitality do that right away? Mark them up if you want?
I thought they went through and did that on the hospitable side. They increased the price. Yeah.
No, I don't think they do because my guests are saying the same price that I pay, so I'm losing 15% on them right now.
What are you seeing in when you go into your reservation details under your messages and it shows your cleaning fee and your kind of like payout report there? Is it showing your regular fee?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I'll just have to increase that. Yeah, I know they went in, they initially had said that they were gonna like you have to opt in for this option to increase these prices. And then all of a sudden, instead of doing that, they just did for everybody's. And then if people didn't want to utilize the 18.34%, you could go and remove it. So,
Yeah, I think mine's low right now. It's set too low, but that's all right. At least we have bookings so far. So
yep. And at the end of the day, it doesn't, I mean, all your guests can see is total price. So as long as it's competitive, that's all that matters.
so they don't see a night. The guest doesn't see how much it is per night. They see how much the total is. We see how much it is per night, but they do not see that. They book for 3 nights. They see a total price.
Well, they can see a breakdown per night, but that each night is still inclusive of nightly rate, cleaning fee, and service fee.
Okay.
They don't know what the actual nightly rate is. Yeah,
So if I'm charging $200, they might see $300.
exactly. Exactly. And then if you ever get somebody, let me, I don't know if this is relevant for anybody. Let me pull it up.
I think we had a similar question, and I think Frankie's on the call. We had someone who wanted to book at one of our properties, and then it like expired. The offer expired because it was after 24 hours. And then Frankie, I think, looked at what it was, and I don't know if she got excited for like, I think he put in whatever it was and maybe like $7 less, like made it rounded out based off of what he would see I think the payout was, but then she was like thanking us for like this discount, like I don't know, $7 I would not get so excited about. So we're like, oh crap, did we like mess something up? And I don't know if he's on here, if he could comment because he was the one who put the offer in, but I don't know if we should be factoring it in because he saw the nightly rate was, I don't know, 400 or something dollars a night. And then he just rounded down a little bit to make it like an even number. But she was like thanking us so much for the discount. And I was like, I don't know what she saw on her end. I'm almost wondering, should we have asked her to screenshot the offer she had seen and then just redone it? Or if you had advice on that, I don't know.
Yeah, so can you guys see my screen right now? I have the what do you want to charge screen up.
Yep. Yep. We could say.
Okay, so if you ever need to change a reservation or if somebody's asking for a discount, you're going to come in and change reservation. I'll go back. I'll start from the beginning. So this will have to be done in Airbnb. You go to let's go over here. Go to your message on the right side, go all the way down to change reservation. This typically confuses a lot of people. If you only need to change the prices, you come down here, and this is going to be like, let's say you wanted to reduce it, give them a $300 discount, or you want it to be $1,500, let's say. Load, load, load.
Now, is that including the cleaning fees plus Airbnb's fees in that, or is that separate?
This is including fees and taxes. So this is what they're actually going to see now. So even though it told you 800, now they're seeing this is what the guest is seeing now. So if it's originally 814, I want to give them, let me go back to the 1814. They're like, okay, how do I make I would really love to rent your place. I'd rent it if it were $2,000.
Okay, so you have to adjust that until that bottom number gets to the 2000, and that's inclusive of all fees, all taxes, and
Correct.
everything.
Isn't that when they submit the inquiry? But what happens if the like if you pre-approve them and the pre-approval expires and you can no longer adjust the registration? Wow, I'm at work. When you can adjust the reservation, because that one's not bad because you can see exactly what the difference is and stuff like that. But
Let's see if I can find an
yeah, exactly. Because my issue is I um I can't see what they see. So like the one we did today, the guest submitted the inquiry, we pre-approved them, the pre-approval expired, and then like, oh, we'll do it. And honestly, what I probably should have done was, hey, great, go book it, but I just sent them the offer, and it was like, I saw it. It was like $401, 401 and 11 cents. That's what their nightly rate was. So I just made it an even 400 and I sent it back to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, do you realize you discounted it? Like, thank you so much." I'm like, "Huh? Like I discounted it $7. Like, what are you talking about?" But
Yeah.
maybe it was more than that. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so this is an example of an expired pre-approval. So obviously
Mm-hmm.
go to special offer, come in, you
Yes.
put the dates, everything, and then your
Yes.
subtotal. It includes any cleaning fees and extra guest fees, but it won't include service fee or anything. So that means
Right.
you need to account for that. So if you want
Yeah.
to charge this person $300 a night for 3 nights, let's say. Yeah, so 303 nights plus your, I don't know, $300 cleaning fee and then your 15%. So 1386. So 1572. And then it won't include tax, which is annoying because Airbnb would normally do that. I don't know how much taxes even is in some of my areas. So I'd probably add some on
Well,
to.
I think they add the taxes on top of whatever you think. I think you're just supposed to send them like the nightly rates, whatever the night the stay is, plus your cleaning fee, and then they tack on all the other stuff on top of that.
Yeah. Is that what you did?
Well, again, like it basically came out to, you could see like if you start I knew what it like I already had the reservation up. Like it says two guests, like right there. It says Melissa, two guests, 244.20. That's the night I know like it was said 2001 or $2007 and change. And it said right under it, the nightly rate, $401, whatever. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just make it easy and do $400 times the times the 5 nights. It's $2,000. So that's what I did. And then she's like, "Oh, you realize you discounted it?" I'm like, I didn't realize I discounted it.
Yeah. So did you add the cleaning fee?
Um, yeah, yeah, it was that. It technically, yes, it was on top of that because the 2000, it was include their 2007. I think that was including the cleaning fee because it just went by the nightly rate. It didn't show me what the cleaning fee was. It showed maybe that's what it is. Maybe I didn't include the cleaning fee.
Yeah, because they have no clue what the cleaning fee is. All they see is the total.
They
Uh,
just see the total.
yeah, but 400 times 5 is going to be 2,000. So yeah, definitely would have had to have been closer to that 24 to
So it
hit that.
probably would have been, yeah,
But
24 and change or 20. I forget what house that was, 23 and change. So maybe
yeah,
that's it.
plus I think we have it set up that if you have any more than 12 guests or something like that at the Palms house, that it charges extra. So I don't know if they had, I don't remember how many guests they had as
It
well.
was Sweet Memories, and it wasn't
It
an
was the other one. I
excessive
think it was,
amount. Yeah.
yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But we have that set up for the same thing too, though.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
But then underneath where it says Melissa and it says two guests, 244.20, is that what you normally charge? Or is that adding the fees, the cleaning fees and stuff in it? Or is that just the nightly fee?
I think it's just a nightly piece.
This would have been the total price for this one night stay.
Okay.
And this is a property in Tallahassee. It is significantly cheap nightly rates and cleaning fee. A lot of last minute, a lot of orphan gaps that get filled in. Okay. So then so the two different options there. Changing reservation, it'll show you the total price. And we clarified that special offers are nightly rate plus cleaning fee, plus if you do extra guest fees, which I don't recommend doing. When you apply extra guest fees, if you have a 4 bedroom house, that's 2 people per bed. And then I charge after that if there are actual beds. I don't like to charge extra fees if they're sleeping on like a futon or something. But that's all like personal preference. I just have experienced some people who were get upset about that. So when you do charge extra guest fees, it's going to be one of those things where you just accept it if they tell you how many guests they're really bringing. If you watch your Ring camera and you're like, they told me they were going to bring 10, but there's actually 13. It's a lot of the time not worth upsetting the guests over an extra 20 or $30. Uh, that bad review upsetting the guests will hurt a lot more. So take it when you can get it, and people are honest. When they're not honest, I recommend leaving it alone. Okay. So what other kind of things do we have going on? Did you have anything, Lisa? You didn't ask any questions. No, no.
Becky, I wrote in the chat. I don't know if we were just like on a hot streak, or if at some point we need to kind of like revisit our one property, and like how we go, like what's the criteria we need to meet to start, because we're booked, which is a good thing, but I think we can maybe start to slowly increase. Or what's your criteria for increasing like the nightly rate? Is it an occupancy rate? Is like what we don't want to obviously do things and just like jack up the price immediately, but we're having a lot of bookings, which is a good thing. But now can we start to like when can we start to bump it up where we have a bunch of reviews, we're guest favorite, we're top 1%, like where when do we start making changes?
Yep. When your occupancy exceeds the market. So the goal is to be about, so I look at this, we'll both through AirDNA and through Price Labs, but if you don't have AirDNA, Price Labs is fine. So when you're looking on Price Labs at the main page and it has the total occupancy for the next 30, 60, 90, and 120 days is what I have mine set to. And if it tells you in the next 60 to 90 days that the market, let's say, is 20% and 30%, and you're sitting, the goal is to be about 10 or 7 to 10% above. That's a very, very flexible number. If you're sitting at 15% or even 20%, that could be like $5 on a base rate that you could increase. But if you're sitting 30, 40% above the market, that tells me you could definitely increase your price. And I would do it in increments of $10 to $20 at a time. That's what
Now,
I
when
would
it's
do.
doing that price comparison, is that on a list of properties you picked out yourself to compare against?
Or is it just like the market in general as a whole?
Yeah, is it
Yeah, I'm mostly looking at the market as a whole.
the market as a whole?
Yeah.
So you're not picking, so it doesn't, you're not going to the higher end of, or the whatever your property would be. I mean, there's lower end and higher end, but you're all
Yeah.
comparing all 5 bedrooms or whatever. So,
Mhm. When I'm comparing individual nights and prices, I look at my list of competitors. But when I'm just trying to determine, okay, can I raise my price? Do I just, so when you, let's say you have 10 comps and your property starts off in like the 50th percentile of those. And let's say those prices are like $400 to $500 on average. So you're sitting at 450. If you look at yourself compared to the market and you're like, okay, I'm way outperforming the market, then you can start to increase that price. You could go, there's no way to figure out what those people are doing based on their last few months to see what their occupancy is. There isn't any data provided for just those few properties. Um, so I just go in and look as a market as a whole, see how 5 bedroom properties, if I have a 5 bedroom, how they're doing. And if I'm doing 30, 40% better than them, I'm going to start increasing my rate. And I'm going to leave it. I'm going to increase it $10, $20. Probably if I want to be safe, if I'm 30% above the market, I'm going to increase it 10. If I'm 40%, I might increase it 20, depending how like aggressive I want to be. And then I'm going to leave it. And I would leave it for like probably 2 weeks because sometimes it's going to take time, depending on how booked you are. It may take time to figure out if that price is actually going to take off or not. It might put you at a hold, but you just can't tell because you're all booked up. So give it time, 2 weeks. If you're really booked for the next few months, give it honestly probably a month or so. If you if you don't have any bookings, obviously you don't probably not going to increase your rate anyway, so it wouldn't really matter. Does that make any sense? Is there a way to,
Mhm.
yeah. Did that make sense?
Yes, yeah, that does. I mean, Frankie's more of the one looking at the pricing, but I was saying based off of like our occupancy and I don't know, and the bookings that are coming in, I'm like, I wonder what our criteria is and when it's time for us to consider gradually, not like jumping it by a lot, but to start increasing the pricing.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that makes
Okay.
sense. And then just to leave it too and not be anxious and like change things around, give it time.
Yes. Okay, so this one is for this property, is a property I do in San Antonio. And this is what I was talking about right here. This is the main page. Like I have multiple properties under this, but I have it filtered for this one. So I have it set, the metric set for 30, 60, 90, and 120. In reality, 30 doesn't really matter to me. The only thing that matters, you guys can see this, yeah, is the 60 and 90. And then I use these ones for kind of different information I can explain in a minute. So at 60 and 90, if this one is way above right now, 13%, I'm almost double that, or more than double that. So I have been increasing the rate. Like the other day, I increased the rate $10 because it's not quite, I'm not confident enough. I want to be safe enough. This is somebody else's property that I'm managing. So I want to be a little bit more safe than I would be on my own property. And I raised it $10. I'm going to let this sit for a few weeks. This is going to come down. You are going to watch your occupancy come down, right? It's going to come down closer to the market. Hopefully, it's going to sit, if the market's 13%, I'd like it to stop at about, I don't know, 18% would be my ideal. 23%, somewhere between there is what I'd like to see. If I start to notice that I'm going too far, then I'm going to bring my price back down. So these are mostly, so when I have a list of 10 properties, obviously I can't look at all of them every single day in depth. So I look at this like right off the bat and I'm like, okay, where's everybody at? Who's with the market? Who's way above? That helps me prioritize who I'm looking at and who's struggling and who's not. And so 60 to 90 days is more of your standard pricing, which helps you determine your base rate. Obviously, everything in the next 30 days is heavily discounted. Everything 120 days out, 90 plus, really. This is more helping me determine where is my season going. I'll notice in San Antonio, summertime is my high season. I'll start to notice there's still 4 months out. We're looking at April. Really, it's June when summer months start to really hit. So I'll start to notice that my occupancy above the market will start to like fly up. Like if the market is sitting at, it's not going to be 8% for summertime, but let's say it's 8%, I'm going to start notice, okay, I'm hitting 20, I'm hitting 25, I'm hitting 30. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting behind. Like I'm getting too many bookings too quick. I need to increase my price. That helps me notice it well in advance before I miss my whole high season. These are my favorite ones. And then,
That's kind of I'm actually looking at ours right now, and for 60 days total occupancy, we're at 60%, and the market is 45. For 90, we're at 69%, the market's 43, and for 120, we're at 70, and the market's 35.
okay, so 60 and 90, you're sitting just 15% above the market. Is that what it,
90 is 26% above the market, and I'm sorry. No, 60, yes, 15%, and 90 is 26%.
okay. So this now it puts it on the scale in my mind of like how aggressive versus safe do you want to be? If it's sitting at like 26% above, again, that's probably $5 to $10 on your actual base price that you can increase it. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say that's even, $10 and you get 20 nights a month booked times 12, additional couple $1,000s. Now, do you want to be more aggressive and for that $2,400, or do you want to be a little bit more safe and know that you're going to get those extra bookings faster than you would like, faster than maybe I would like? Kind of like when we talk about palms, I'm a bit
Yeah.
aggressive, you're a bit more safe. So, it's a lot of people would rather have the bills paid and know it ahead of time than maybe maximize and be more aggressive on that end of it. So that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I think a small increase isn't bad. Like, actually, it's funny when I logged into Price Labs, they recommended they had the little light bulb, they recommended that we increase, and I haven't seen that before. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that. So, but they recommended that we increase the price, and it wasn't a lot. I think our base was like 290, and they recommended it to go to 312. So maybe I put it just like 300, split the difference.
Yeah. Yep. Just make sure to
And
keep an
then
eye on it.
I'll bump the minimum up by like $10 too.
Yeah. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, well,
Keep in mind, when it comes to like when you start hitting that June, July, or even really May, June, then at 4 months and ahead, you're starting to look into your slow season. So if your high season, your peak base price sits at 300 or whatever you said, then come May, that's probably going to come back down $10 or so that you're leading into the slower season there.
mm,
Those are good notes. Like keep in mind what your base price is during high season, and then what it is during your shoulder season, what it is during your slow season. And then next year, typically on average, it's 10 to 20% higher.
yeah,
Well, your math is right, Becky. $10 times 20 is only 200, not 2,000.
Yeah, times 12.
Oh, you took it for the year.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I thought you doing per month, so.
no. Yeah, so even on a monthly basis, yeah, $200. I mean, $200 is could a lot in my mind with some of my properties, even San Antonio that pays a bill for the month.
yeah.
Um, so that's
And
why
maybe you're attracting different guests too than someone, not the $5 to $10 difference is like make or breaking things, but if you slowly start to creep up, then it might be, you know, a different crowd than some of the other guests that may book too.
yeah, it could hit that next level of guests for sure. Yep. It's worth playing around with because then you try it and maybe it's too much and then your bookings slow down and then next time you're like, oh, I'm gonna be safe. Or it works out and you're like, great, this is my next level here. I've done both. I've increased the price a little bit and then all of a sudden I'm below market and I'm like, oh my gosh, that wasn't worth it. But don't know until you try it. Because the
Would
evidence is saying that you could increase your price.
Here's a question. Would that have any impact on your like top percentage in the market? I don't know exactly how they pull top 1% or 5% or whatever. Maybe it has to do with how many reviews or how many bookings are coming. Like, are we risking that, like losing that if we were to do this? I don't know how they calculate that.
Nope, not at all. Guest favorite, top 1% and all that strictly have to do with reviews. It's the guest experience.
Okay. I didn't know if that factored into how they calculate things or the algorithm or stuff like that, if that would negatively impact it if you start getting, a little bit less bookings or, a longer period of time in between bookings, versus, a booking or multiple bookings in a day type scenario. So that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yep. So for the 1% and everything, that's strictly based on guest experience. As for the algorithm, all that it wants to see is that because you're doing so much better than the market, it finds you valuable enough to be able to do that. If you weren't, if you were below market and tried to increase your price, they're like, why? You haven't proven yourself to be that worthy. Then they're going to push you back in the pages. But no, that's why it's once your occupancy exceeds the market, then you've proven your value and can increase the rate.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. It won't hurt you.
Figured it's worth a shot. I just didn't know. I didn't know if we were too premature or if we're like it's a good point now to give it give it a go if we're at that level where hey we can try this. And I think based off of Frankie pulling up the numbers in the same columns that you were talking about, maybe we could try.
Yeah. Yeah. I would give it a try. If it were my own property, I would do it. because I'm aggressive with it and I want to see where I can push the property to. But with the other property with palms, I kept doing that for months. Like it didn't matter. I mean, up until I'd say a few months ago, I could just kept like every few weeks I was able to raise the price and raise the price and we just kept getting bookings and kept getting bookings. And then I finally hit like that 420 range it's at, or it was at, and then it kind of like that's when I realized, okay, things have slowed down. We kind of hit market. Now we're sitting just slightly above the market. And that's when like people get panicky. And I'm like, okay, let's bring it down to like a little bit safer. Then we start getting bookings again and more consistently. And so it's like, okay, I kind of figured out what that max price is going to be for this property. Now it's just tweaking other little things.
So Becky, I did remember I have a question. Is it better to meet like market occupancy but make more than the average, or be above market occupancy but your price is not as high, like for the algorithm?
Sorry, let's make sure I'm so to have okay, let me make sure I'm understanding that. Like saying either having a lower occupancy but higher nightly rate versus
Yes.
higher rate or lower rate and higher occupancy. Per the algorithm, it's occupancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
Thank you.
your case, which is very similar to Frankie and Dana, is your properties are both like it's hard to even find comps for them because they've like created their own competition. They're their own standing properties. And so it's really just as long as you're above, you can just keep raising that price, even if it doesn't make sense with your comps.
Okay. I know a couple months in the fall time, like when I had the cancellations, like I was just at market occupancy.
Yep.
And so I was like, I wonder if this is affecting my algorithm. Like if I need to keep my price lower until I'm like consistently above occupancy and then raise it back up.
If your price labs drops down because of cancellations, I would definitely take that into consideration and not like dump my price because of it. Not my base price. I wouldn't lower it. I would know that, okay, I was getting these bookings based on the price I had. Clearly that is working. Let me make adjustments for those specific days. Like if you need
Okay.
the price on those specific days, okay, that to me would be like, okay, it's coming, it'll come back up as soon as I get this day booked.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So what else can we think about? Does anybody have any fun holiday stories? How was your guys' holidays?
Sounds like Steve had the bad guest at his place. They were partying out there. I think overall ours seemed to be okay. We've had a lot of same day turns, which I think is always a little nerve wracking to um, hope that nothing drastic bad happens, that you're trying to troubleshoot when you have guests checking out and checking in the same day, especially like the holiday times and season. But overall, not too bad. We had a broken lamp at one of the houses and we were able to order a new one on Amazon. So I'll take that as a win.
Yes, definitely. Well, I didn't have any crazy Airbnb stuff. It was pretty quiet. But Alaska is going through something. I was in Hawaii for Christmas and New Year's, and it was 60 below in Fairbanks, which is where I'm from, like originally. Palmer, where I live now, was blowing 90 miles an hour. And then Juneau, where my dad lives, they got 82 inches of snow within a week and a half. They broke the record of like 1964 when they got 62 inches. So Alaska's having a meltdown
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Not coming. I'm not coming there.
I wouldn't right now. I would not come here right
How do
now.
you stay warm in your house when it's that cold?
I don't know. Well, my aunt's house, when they got home in Fairbanks, their house was frozen.
Wow.
It's two out of the three bathrooms, the pipes burst when they tried to thaw them out. And they had somebody in there every day, like flushing toilets, running water, and still, like it hit that cold snap and they came home to a frozen house at 2 in the morning. Had to get a hotel. Um, but for the most part, most houses should keep up. I don't know if this is common in other places, but for windows here in Alaska, we put like saran wrap around them. It's kind of like a
Yeah, they don't do that here.
yeah, they do.
No, most houses should have better windows. Older houses would be, but
Yeah.
yeah, you get another insulation out of it. So
Yeah. Well, I have a new build here, and with that 90-mile-an-hour wind, my house is like, I'm still cleaning dirt. It just like came through. My window seals and everything are just brown because I'm like a new development. So all of the dirt from the yards, my grass is still green because we have so much wind, it just blows all the grass or the snow away. So,
how cold is it by you?
mm, it's been about 0. And then in Anchorage, I went to Anchorage on Saturday and it was about 13 below in Anchorage. And I had to go jump my truck. So when I got home from the airport, my truck was dead in the parking garage because it was so cold. So
That's what I really like about the Denver area. It snows, but then it's 70 degrees. It was out there yesterday. So
that's crazy. Yeah, this
it
is,
is. It's beautiful out there. I was just out there again to check
yeah,
my second place, and I just love it out there.
yeah. This is definitely a very weird December. Normally this kind of cold and crazy weather doesn't happen until like mid-January, February. This is a very rare December. So, but it's okay. I still love it. I'm no regret.
When is it dark there for you guys? Like, what time does it get dark out?
It was dark till about 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning, I believe. Maybe even 10:30.
Hmm.
And then it'll start to get dark. What time is it now? Probably like 4. I don't know. I
Oh
can look.
my God. Wow.
We're actually gaining time now. The like
Hmm.
we're 22nd, like second, like we're starting to gain time again.
Yeah. Can you see the northern lights there or no?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Fairbanks, where I'm originally from, you see them all the time. Here, I've seen a couple
Mhm.
really, really good nights. So right now, sunset's at 3:53.
Wow.
Sunrise at 10:10. Yep. So,
That's crazy. I would never leave my house. I think that's probably what would happen if I was there in the winter.
uh, luckily, I work from home, obviously. So, and then prior to working from home, I worked in construction. So I was outside during a bit of daylight that there is. Um, but for my friends and stuff who work a 9 to 5 and go to work in the dark and come home in the dark 9 months out of the year, it is very hard on a lot of people.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good holiday. I hope that was helpful. And Emily will be back on Wednesday, and then I'll be back next Monday. Talk to you guys later.
Okay, see ya.
Thank
Thanks.
you.